Hello, fans and assorted stalkers, and welcome to Gone Home. Like, this game I was originally going to cover on Terrific Thursday, but in light of recent events, I've decided to move it forward a bit. Like, you've probably already heard the news, but for those who don't, the United States Supreme Court ruled in favor of, well, same-sex marriage, essentially labeling it unconstitutional for states to ban said same-sex marriage. I have decided to celebrate with this game, since it's, well, one of the best portrayals of homosexuality I have ever seen. I want to celebrate this ruling, honestly. Like, yeah, I know that we have a lot of work to do for the entire LGBT plus spectrum, but I feel like celebrating. But first I want to talk about, like, some of the reactions to it. Like, the internet as a seems to have been generally celebrating, with Facebook and a variety of corporations. Like, a bunch of corporations have hopped on the, like, Love Wins hashtag, which is in celebration of the ruling, and honestly, of all the hashtags for corporations to jump on, I would prefer this one. Like, yeah, I know they're just doing it for popularity and all that, but, well, if it makes it more popular and it supports a good cause, I don't really care about the motivations. Well, honestly, at the very least, we know they're not run by anti-gay people, because if they were, they would not be so quick to support something like this, even if it's for PR purposes. And out of all the hashtags to support, I prefer this one over really anything else. I mean, it just shows how far we've come. Like, I've been on the internet for a long while. I think I started when I was 11. Or maybe even 10. I used to frequent, Ed and Eddie board called, The Three Eds, although I joined it when it was called Los Three Eds. Like, I was a big fan of Ed and Eddie. It was my first fandom. Like, my posts probably weren't that great since I was, as I said, 10, but anyway, that's not the point of the story. Oh yeah, and I also read a lot of Mario fanfiction too. Like, back to my point. Like, they treated homosexuality and being gay as, well, very different than we do today. Like, for one, the only thing people knew was gay. They didn't, like, back then, people didn't know what bisexual was, or maybe some people did, but not the general populace, at least I didn't. Like, they really only talked about, like, gay people, and people didn't really know what bisexuality was, or transgender, or pansexual, asexual, or any other sexuality beyond straight and gay. But even then, they treated gay a lot differently. Just the fact of being gay was treated as more of a PG-13 or more mature topic. Like, I remember there was, so basically in Los Three Heads there was some topic, I forget exactly what we were talking about, but like, someone essentially brought up that he and his friends thought that, well, Jimmy might be gay. But the thing that struck me was the fact that gay was hidden behind a spoiler warning, which was, like, spoiler warnings were used for spoilers, but generally any type of content that, you know, people might not want to see. Like, doesn't break any rules, but might be a bit sensitive to some viewers. And they treat gay like that. And that actually kind of reminds me of the fanfiction community. Like, the interesting thing about it is I actually did an anthropology class on, well, the fandom community, and like, one thing I found is that in the fanfiction community, essentially fanfiction served as a way to playfully subvert cultural norms, which is actually a common trend within fandoms. A lot of fan communities come together as a way to subvert cultural norms and to create a subculture around that. But anyway, back to fanfiction. Like, it was also primarily female, which is, well, combined with the subverting cultural norms is why there was a prevalence of slash fics even in its origin. The fanfics community latched on to slash fics as a way to subvert norms, because the norm at them was that, well, being gay was not good. And compare that to now, where there's, like, the internet is one of the most pro-gay things I've seen, you know, mostly. Like, there's still a lot of homophobes on Facebook, but, well, Facebook is where the idiots flock, because, well, there's a lot of people on Facebook. But still, like, some of the biggest, like, websites tend to have a more pro-gay community, like Tumblr especially, but even like YouTube, and like the internet is very pro-gay, like definitely a lot more pro-gay than the rest of the world, given like how much of a controversy gay marriage is, even though it shouldn't be a fucking controversy. Like, I know what some of them are gonna say. It's assault on religious rights because you have to go to a wedding if it goes against your religious beliefs, but I know what some of you are saying. It goes against religious rights because, well, now you have to do business that goes against your religion, and let's just say if someone refused to sell a car to a woman and said it was against his religion, I don't think as many people would be in favor of it. I mean, let's not pretend this is anything more than I don't want to serve gay people. As much as people rally for religious rights, I'd rather have rights for the powerless minority than the powerful majority. Like, it's not actually uncommon for people to argue, like, personal rights as a way to strip away of a minority's rights. I mean, heck, people argued in favor of segregation, saying that we have the right to decide who our neighbors are, when really they just hated black people. And same here, like, people may claim that, oh, we need our religious rights, we need to protect our religious rights, it's our right to choose who we give business to, but really they just hate gay people. And I know what other people are saying, like I know what some other people are saying, like, gay marriage goes against the principles America was founded on, and no offense, America wasn't founded on the principles of Christianity, it was founded on the principle of fuck you, Britain. But anyway, let's actually get into the game. Oh yeah, one thing I like about this game is that almost all the text on, well, everything is readable. As you can tell, I'm Catelyn Green. I'm bad at reading and writing, I'll freely admit, but still, it is readable. So, anyway, I'm Catelyn, and I just come home. Let's see. Katie, I'm sorry, I can't be there to see you, but it's impossible. Please, please don't go digging around trying to find out where I am. I don't want anyone, Mom and Dad, to know. We'll see each other again someday. Don't be worried, I love you, Sam. So, yeah, essentially, you play as someone coming home. I forget exactly what she's coming home from. I think college, but essentially... Oh, come. Meh. Essentially, you play as a woman coming home to find her, well, house abandoned in that note. Man, I take it we have not... Ah, look. Christmas duck. Ah, there it is. Hey there, duck. How are you? Well, fuck you. Anyway. Yeah, I got the house key. I'll just leave my bags there as I check out the house. Seems abandoned. Yeah, the thing about this is most of the story is done through text you find around the house. Like, it was actually pretty engaging for me. I read as many
Dear
notes
Katie,
as I can. Oh.
So much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm at a new school. And my big sister being gone for a year doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't feel real. But I'm not gonna let it faze me. I used to tell you everything, and if I can't do it in person, because you're off gallivanting around who knows where, I'll tell it to this journal. Just like I was talking to you.
So yeah, a good chunk of the story is done through, well, Sam's narration. Ooh, tissues. Like, Sam's narrations and text. And I mentioned that this game has one of the best portrayals of homosexuality, or a gay character I have ever seen, at least in video games. But I'm actually not gonna spoil much about, like, where in the game it is, since, like, one of the best part of this game is the discovery, is the exploration. And I don't want to spoil that. Yeah, you mostly just go around exploring the house. Trying to figure out, well, essentially, what the hell happened and why no one's here. It's not a horror game, I should say that much. It is not a horror game. There are no monsters, you can't die. Well, like, I won't be reading out loud a lot of these notes because, well, I actually have trouble reading cursive. Oh.
Hello?
Was not aware of this.
Sam!
Oh. Yes? Like, the game really endeavored to make a real, like, natural experience. And, well, I must say they succeeded. Like, it's really cool, I must say. Woo, that is dark. Boop. Oh, we got a map. Although, be warned, like, this game isn't the best optimized. Like, admittedly before, I only had a mid-grade, well, video card, and oh.
Oh my god. You are so lucky you finished high school before we moved into this house. So, it's the first day of school, and there I am, introducing myself to the class. and I say that I just moved into the house on Arbor Hill. All of a sudden, every kid in the room turns and just stares like I suddenly transformed into a mutant. I just stood there, wishing pretty hard for a rewind button. Because now maybe nobody knows my name, but they all know who I am. The Psycho House Girl. Great.
But, yeah, anyways, I was saying, like, ooh, Bedfort! Ah, poltergeist.
This is a severe weather warning.
Of course, because this is the haunted house and all that. Ooh, soda. Dr. Jitters. Yum, yum, yum. Ah.
Bah! Boone County, Dawn County, Takelma County, and Wistaria County. Residents are strongly urged.
So, yeah, this game isn't exactly the most well optimized. Like, admittedly, my old graphics card was, well, both old and only mid-grade, but like, even at the lowest settings, I can play this without lagging it to hell and back. The main mechanic of this game is you essentially go around exploring stuff and investigating. And the interesting thing is you find, like, notes and objects all around the house that, well, give you more, like, that characterize the entire family. The mother, father, the daughter, and, well, even a bit of you, or playable character, the playable sister. But yeah, this feels like a legitimate house. It feels like people really did live here. Like, seriously, read every note. It's really interesting. Oh. Plus, there are some puzzles which you have to figure out with notes. Like, the objects, like, are really well designed as well, with a lot of detail in, well, all the things you pick up. Like, admittedly, there isn't as much detail in the general environments, but, well, anything that you're going to be interacting with, like, there's plenty of detail to examine, since it is a game based on, well, detail. And, like, as you can tell, like a lot of parents, there's been trouble with quote-unquote rebellious teenagers. That book, for example, like, it, just the fact that it's here and, well, it's in the library beyond Dad's office, it gives you an idea of what the family structure was like and, well, and essentially what the parents thought of it. Oh god. Yeah, he has fucking porn in there. Like, Dad just has porn hidden under his books. Of course he does. Of course he does. But yeah, you're able to get a great deal of characterization without ever really interacting with the character. Like, the only one with real voiceover, like, is Sam, who gets, like, a majority of it. Like, sure, there was that answering machine message, but ultimately, most of the characterization is done through the environment of the house. And, like, I don't want to give away the, like, really any part of this mystery, because, like, it's something you need to experience for yourself. Yes, an old worksheet on the reproductive system, like, I'm glad at least someone's learning about reproduction and sex ed rather than, you know, just the whole don't have sex ever, which then leads to people having sex but being really dumb about it. Like, admittedly, like, probably a bit more unnecessary detail, since, well, what you really need to know is, like, like the percentage of effectiveness of various types of contraception, how different types of STDs can be transmitted, and clear up a lot of misconceptions surrounding sexuality, including, like, sex with disabilities and, well, homosexuality, transgender, that type of stuff. You know, teach them early. Because, like, no offense, like, they've hit puberty and, like, whether they know about sex or not, they're gonna want to fuck something. Although I'm not opposed to being able to opt out of sex ed if it's available, if just for the fact that that compromise might be the only way we can get, like, wide standardized sex education, is if parents have the choice to opt out of it. But anyway, like, Samantha's a bit of a writer, but, well, I mean, from what I could tell, it's actually fairly accurate, just, like, creative, and the American school system can be way too anal retentive. Like, if they know like, quite simply, if they know the concepts and can show that they know the concepts, then, well, who cares how they show it? Okay, that was a bit of a tangent, but hold on. Gotta get this into light. Well, and there's actually an option in the menu to have the lights automatically turn on, but honestly, I think having all the lights turn off makes it feel more natural. Wow. That's the first time I think I've seen a textbook without, like, testimonials on the back. Boop. The game is essentially about a woman who comes home finding that, well, her family is missing, no idea why, so then she has to go around the house to piece it together, and, well, the game has to accomplish that by having you wander around the house and put things together. The best way to get the characters invested in, well, the character you're playing as is to, well, align their motives. Like, we both want to figure out what's happening. We both want to know what happened in this house, and, well, we have to piece it together. Ooh, leopard print comb. That is unusual. Like, the more you examine, the more objects you examine, the more you learn about, like, all of the characters. And, well, here's Sam's room. Radiation area, keep out. Like, hell to bellies in such a generic way. Anyway, like, as you can tell by the TVs being left on, like, whoever, like, the parents and the sister and everyone there must have been people who left in a hurry. Oh yeah, penguin binder. So rad. Yeah, 4th grade. Like, you don't really give stuff up when you're a kid. Ooh, that's an N64 cartridge, or Super Nintendo cartridge. Like, I actually own a Super Nintendo. I had a bunch of games for it, like, asked for Christmas. Like, what you'll find on eBay is... Well, okay, then. Blech. But what you'll find on eBay is when buying, like, old game systems, you're often able to find, well, essentially bundles with that game system and that person's collection of games. So, yeah, I recommend those. Those are actually pretty good deals. Like, that's probably got, well, both my Atari and my mother's Atari I got her for Christmas. Like, yeah, just from, like, the objects, you're able to tell that Sam was very much a creative writer, if just for the fact that she, oh god, I'm lagging. Like, it is not well optimized. Like, considering the fact that I'm even, like, now with, I actually have a pretty good graphics card, although I am running Fraps as well, and Fraps is not exactly kind to, well, GPUs. But yeah, you're able to tell that, well, Sam very much loved creative writing, and just looking around her, like, hell, just that poster indicates that, well, she likes the creative sorts of work. Oh yeah, and she was also a very big, like, gamer as well. Or at the very least, she really liked Street Fighter. But of course, they probably couldn't include the real logo because, well, copyright is kind of weird like that. Oh.
We're so cool, yeah. Yeah, we're so cool.
Not to mention, she actually had a bit of music.
Yeah. Fuck you too, cool schmuck.
Well then. Yeah, Sam also had a bit of a music, like, thing. Oh, bathroom. Like, everything is actually pretty well detailed, making their own logos to substitute since, for whatever reason, they can't use real logos. The copyright is weird. Okay, that better not be blood. Okay, what is this? Okay, that's... So... Yeah, it might be kind of trolling you into thinking it's a horror game, but it's not a horror game. Okay, here's the parents' room. Which, well, as you could tell, like, people, like, the parents left in a hurry, if just with the fact of how much of a disarray this is. Oh, look, a kitten. I'm guessing that's one of their kids, like, of course, as a parent would do. Okay, that is not a drawer I wanted to open. Like, seriously, read every note. I mean it. Every note. Even if you're like me and can't read cursive or have difficulty reading cursive and have to really, like, stare at it for a while to get it, like, read every note. Ooh. Okay, let's get you in the light. I said the light. There we are. Escape from Ghost Mansion. Ah, yes. Oh, man. That actually looks like a fun board game. Like, the house feels like a real house, as strange as that seems. It's, like, certainly bigger than your average house, but, well, it feels real. Hey, cat, your parents fucked too. That's how you came into being. Like, it's actually pretty interesting that you're able to figure out, like, what, like, some of the issues, like, the parents had just with the books they have. Like, there's that help book with the teenager stuff, and, like, you know, that their sex life died down because of, well, this book. Whew. But, yeah, like, this house isn't, like, the map is very well designed. Like, very immersive, and okay, apparently the mother left her purse. Well, presuming she doesn't have multiple. Oh, this is one of, well, the player characters, like, postcards, or mine, I should say. Like, you're even able to learn more about the character you're playing as, just not only your, well, interaction to some of, well, the objects, but there are even, like, stuff she sent home when she was away that you can find in the house. Oh, yeah, like, there was rumors that this house was haunted as well. Which, of course, gotta investigate them ghosties! Oh, that is ominous. Sam's dark room. Do not enter if red lights are on. Well, considering the fact that people are missing, I'm gonna enter that later, but it's locked. Like, Sam had a very big fascination with pirates. As you can tell from that, well, flag in her room. Okay, yeah, there's a secret passage. Yeah, there's apparently a secret passage in the library. Which, well, you're able to find a bunch of secret passages. Like, more secret passages than the average house, but, well, like, I'm not exactly surprised they exist. Like, people don't seem to realize just how many different ways you can show characterization. Like, you're able to tell it through body language. Like, the most obvious one is dialogue, but you're also able to do it through body language, like interactions, and, well, you're even able to do characterization just by stuff. The arrangement of a house gives characterization. Like, that's slightly insane. Like, you don't really see that often. Like, this is effectively a game about learning more about the character of a family when, well, you never really interact with, like, any other character. No, seriously, the most you get it is journals. Okay, this is dark. Okay, I'd like the light, please. Oh my. Someone spent a good deal of time decorating this. This is dark. Like, I get why some people thought this was a horror game, but I assure you, it's not. Not in the slightest. And there's just a secret passage in between, like, the parents' room and the library, for whatever reason. Okay, I think I'll do one more hidden passage, and then I think, well, hidden panel, anyway. Ah, yes, Samantha was a bit of a writer. Yeah, you can read some of her stories. Like, I think that'll be it for today. So, why does Gone Home deserve to be on Terrific Tuesday? Number one, it's one of the best examples of exploration in games I've ever seen. Like, the entire game is just exploring around a house, trying to figure out, well, what the hell happened. And, of course, figuring out how to proceed, especially since a lot of the doors are locked, and a lot of things you need combinations to, so you gotta figure out by searching around notes and such, but, like, this entire game is exploring to figure out more about this world so you could proceed. And that's actually really engaging. Number two, despite you never interacting with any other character but yourselves outside of, well, like Sam's audio logs, essentially, all of the characters are incredibly well developed. Like, the parents aren't exactly as well developed as, well, Sam, since she's the most well developed, but, well, you didn't slacken the character for them either. You're able to figure out, like, their character solely from, well, what's left behind in the house. That's actually really cool. Like, this is a type of characterization you don't really see often, learning about a character indirectly. Like, can you really think of any other game that really does that, like, successfully? And number three, the house feels natural. Like, the house feels like a house that people have lived in. It's designed like a house would be designed. The rooms are where the rooms would be. Like, there's the master bedroom with, well, the massive bathroom. Not to mention, like, the teenager's room, like, looking like a teenager's room with the various interests plastered on the wall. Plus, even the secret passages don't feel out of place. It's actually pretty cool. And the fourth and final one is this game contains one of the best gay characters I've ever seen in a video game. Like, honestly, like, gay representation in video games is lackluster. Like, honestly, the most we seem to get are lesbians who are there for sex appeal. And, well, not gonna lie, like, I'm glad that we're getting more representation of, like, everything in games. Like, I know it's not exactly easy when, well, especially when, like, the straight white cis protagonist is really, like, ingrained into the gaming industry because, well, it's always what they've done, and, like, honestly, I think the reason for lack of representation today isn't so much, like, homophobia, like, there's certainly some of that in the game industry, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is the fear of change. Because, well, the game industry as a whole is actually getting a lot more diverse. But the games, like AAA especially, aren't really reflecting that. And that isn't because, like, isn't like self-hating women or self-hating black people. It's simply because, well, they've always done it a certain way, and getting changes to it is more difficult, which is why I've actually been gravitating towards indie games as of late. Like they have more reason to make something new to at least stand out over all the other indie games. Like, I honestly hope there's continue this trend in indie games. Yeah, like I said, I tend to gravitate more towards indie games. Like, I used to be a real Nintendo guy, but that's just because they were so different than everything else in the industry, which was, well, bunch of grim and gritty first-person shooters, but now, like, ultimately, I've kind of gravitated away from them because Nintendo's become the norm for me. So now I'm gravitating towards indie games so I can find, like, more, like, new experiences. That's what I'm on the lookout for. And indie games right now have the most incentive to try something new, to experiment. Like, admittedly, experiments don't always work, but, like, I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad they're doing it in a lower risk setting where, like, sure, like, getting an indie game to work is, like, incredibly risky for those people, but, like, compared to the several $million budgets of AAA games, like, I mean, seriously, like, GTA costs, like, a couple $100 million. Like, an indie game, while expensive, like, is only a 200th of that budget, and as such, a 200th of that, like, risk. Plus, doing it yourselves makes sure that everyone on board is willing to take that risk. But anyway, I was getting off track, so, like, yeah, I understand that representation is difficult, but it's something we need as the game industry moves forward, and if the best way to get that done and get that integrated into, like, mainstream games is indie games, and ultimately if the success of an indie game with a protagonist, like, other than a straight white male, then that's great, because, like, the successes of indie games can ultimately be the best way to move the industry in a new direction. And that's why I think indie games are more important in this game industry than ever. They're the forces that'll determine, like, the success of indie games is the force that'll determine how, like, the AAA industry moves ahead, and how the game industry as a whole, like, to be fair to the game industry, there has been a great amount of diversity, at least in women. Like, not sure about, like, race and sexual diversity, but at the very least, they're making steps in, they're at least making some kind of steps in diversity, and ultimately I think indie games might be the way to push them further. So I think that'll be all for today. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.